Hello, welcome. It's still deadline day, and we have a lot to talk about. A potential departure, potentially more players in. It's going to be mad up until the deadline. Let's dive right into it. First up, Leeds United could still permanently sell Luis Sinisterra before the deadline. If you'll remember last deadline day, it was going up right until the end. Will we lose Sinisterra or will we not? Will Jadon Anthony come in or will Jadon Anthony not? Lots and lots of questions flying around, and it feels like it's going to be another day for Sinisterra to grab all of the headlines. The sources on this one, two of them. One of them, Tier 3 James Marshman at Team Talk, who tends to get the odd fairly good exclusive in addition to a Tier 1.5. It's someone that I personally trust. I know what they've said in the past has been accurate, and they've said that there could be more departures. They weren't specific on the names, but the two stories are starting to come together. Now, Bournemouth are looking at getting more loan signings in through the door because they've not had the strongest season in the Premier League. They sort of want to make sure that they're safe and make sure that Iraola has what he needs to push forwards. A permanent move for Luis Sinisterra would open them up a spot in terms of loans. You get a set number of loans in the Premier League. You can use them, you can not use them, but once you've used up your slots, no more loans. If they were to turn Sinisterra into a permanent, he would no longer class as a loan signing, would instead be down as a permanent, and that would open up a gap. It would also secure the future for Luis Sinisterra at Bournemouth, and in their opinion, it would be a brilliant move. He's impressed quite a lot in his time on the field. He's scored a few goals. He's done his usual tricky stuff that we're not allowed to like anymore because he was a little bit of a rat on the last day of the last transfer window. So we'll try and ignore all the good things he's done and pay attention to the 20 million plus good things he could do for Leeds United right now. This is potentially massive for the Whites, especially on deadline day, especially if we can get this deal done a little bit earlier than the deadline itself. First up is it opens up vast amounts of funds a lot earlier than expected. The rough estimate of what it would be is something like 20 million quid, but I'll get into that in a moment. And it shows that we have a lot of saleable value out on loan. We have a lot of players out on loan in different places. Jack Harrison, for example, Brendan Aronson, Rasmus Christensen, Diego Llorente. And the fact is, we've written off a lot of these players. And that's with a good reason. A lot of these players do not have the level of quality that we are looking for at the moment. And it's infuriating, but on the bright side, it shows that there is potential to bring in money for these loan players. We can build a massive squad next year if we sell all of these footballers, and Sinisterra seems to be just the start. We do have a little bit more detail on what a fee might look like, and this comes from the fact that Bournemouth do have a £20 million buy option in the summer. Now, remember that this is the summer, and there is a pretty big condition to this. It's only valid if Leeds United do not go up this season. That's our way of basically saying, no, we won't have to repeatedly send him out on loan to you. Instead, we can just sell him at the end of the season. And that would be a fantastic idea if we can follow through on that, get as much money as we can out of Luis Sinisterra, because he doesn't want to stay here, which is a pain because he's a good footballer, but he's always constantly injured. And yeah, but the fact that it's only valid if Leeds don't go up is valuable to us right now if they want to buy. It leaves us some room to negotiate and means we can squeeze a little bit more money out of them. We are currently sat in a position where we have an asset that Bournemouth very much want now. There's a price for the future, and that's 20 million quid, but we can add a premium to that if they want to bring it forwards. And in the event that we do go up, we can say, well, you don't have a clause now, so you don't really have a leg to stand on if you want to buy him permanently right now. So we'll add another 5 million, 25 million quid. And we can just have a conversation around that. Our hand isn't forced to sell him below what we consider to be a market value, which we might do if we fail to go up this season. Now, all of this money can be used to fund incoming players, and there is a feeling that there could be a hell of a lot of movement before the window closes. First up, the move for Connor Roberts is effectively done. He travelled along the M62 earlier today, apparently by helicopter, which don't know why he travelled along the M62, probably didn't. To complete his loan move, this is effectively guaranteed. There are sources all over the shop saying that it's done. Joe Rodon's brother asked him if he wants a cuppa later on, so I think we consider the Connor Roberts move secure, finished, done, perfect. In addition to that, also, a weird fun fact, he has played with Ampadu, James, and Joe Rodon more than 40 times. He's going to blend in perfectly. It's going to be fantastic. Anyway, in addition to that, there is potentially room for another attacking option, which I think is quite a good thing. We need a few more options up top. We saw what happened against Plymouth when we took Somerville out of the squad, presumably to rest him a bit. He had a little bit of an adductor problem, but he will be back. But then we were left with Anthony on one flank, Nonto on the other. Didn't work out. Didn't quite do the job that we hoped they would, and then we were left sort of scrambling a little bit. And you need to also consider the fact that Jan Poveda isn't quite going to be at that standard for promotion level football. Bringing another attacking option would be huge, and especially one that's already been promoted, and that's why the news around Manuel Benson is very, very promising. Manuel Benson we've apparently been chasing for the entire window now, and things had looked a little bit ropey at points. I think it's Hull that we were competing with for him, but they've picked up another winger from Burnley. I think it was Amdouni or someone along those lines. And that leaves the door wide open for us to stroll on through and try and sign Manuel Benson if we still feel like we need a winger. And honestly, I don't see any harm in it. As long as we're not promising them a set number of minutes, not a problem. Also, I can feel my mouth getting a little bit more like soundy. So I'll fix that by the time I'm streaming later. I'll get to that a little bit later, though. In addition to that, we could still need a left back because we still just have Firpo and Byram there. If they both get injured at the same time, that's where the serious problems start to kick in, and we might need to get a little bit thinky. We got rid of Leo Hielda, who was like the third or fourth choice there. Shackleton can play over there, Strout can play over there, but it makes it a hell of a lot easier if they don't need to. Maybe signing a left back would be a good idea. There's still conversations around the likes of Charlie Taylor that I've heard from some not perfect sources. Big pinches of salt, but potentially a left back in as well, depending on how things are looking at the minute. In addition to that, there have been some discussions around Joe Worrell. We had a bid rejected by Nottingham Forest last night. I mentioned this in the last video, but they wanted a permanent move. We wanted him on loan. But in my opinion, I feel like the likes of Forest and Everton are likely to start moving goalposts a little bit late in the window. This relates to both Godfrey and Worrell, and I think the fact that they're both under FFP pressure means that they need money in and they need wage reductions as soon as possible. And if they're not going to get Worrell out and they're not going to get Godfrey out, they need to start looking at bids that they wouldn't have initially considered earlier in the window. This is why I'm happy with us waiting until late. It means you've got sides that are desperate to get rid of some players like Godfrey, like Worrell, because they're not going to play for their first team. And especially when Everton fans did not like seeing Ben Godfrey the other night. And they can get rid of some of the cash. It just makes sense. I think we're going to start looking at those moves from FFP-stricken clubs, and the fact is we're being sensible about it, and I absolutely love that. It's brilliant. Basically, for the rest of the window, up until the deadline, watch this space. And I will be watching this space with eager eyes. I'm going to start my stream at about 5 o'clock. So if you are seeing this, you are probably seeing this when I'm streaming between 5 and midnight. So hop on in, say hello. I might even do some like inviting people on to say hello. I know I've got various Leeds YouTubers, might have a couple of viewers on as well, if I am not too stressed out by that point. It's been a long day already. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you later. You know what? I'm not going to do a word this time. I'm just going to let you comment if you stuck around till the end. That'd be quite nice. See you later.